talk about those first three quarters in which you guys are building upon in a very quick order of time. Your thoughts on that period?
Those first three quarters, we were playing some good basketball. For sure. The ball was moving. I feel like we're all in sync. On the defensive end, I feel like we were the aggressors, kind of dictating what's going on. And, in the fourth, they slipped a little bit. They're the best team in the league for a reason. You got to give them credit. They came out in that fourth and, they made shots, they made plays, and, got back in the game.
Yeah, they really cranked it up. Obviously, number one rated defense, as you noted, for a reason. But what was it about that particular lineup that they were able to find that type of success against you all?
They just started hitting shots. They started getting downhill, making the extra pass. When they locked in defensive, I feel like they got us, going faster than, especially just picking up the pace. But we play again tomorrow, so got to look forward to it.
That's part of this gig, right? Tell me what your opinion is about chicken and egg when those quarters are that lopsided. Is the defensive failures affect the offensive thinking or the other way around from your perspective?
I feel like defense, no matter what, sometimes your offense isn't going to be going, but as long as you can stop the other team and make them not score too, then it's going to be a funky game, and get yourself a better chance than just going bucket to bucket. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just kind of walk us through what you've been dealing with over the last day and a half or so.
Just a little stomach bug. Just dealing with a little stomach bug. I had to miss shoot around in obviously the last game, and then I flew here this morning. So just wanted to give myself an opportunity to get out here and finish off these last two games before the All-Star break.
After getting off to a nice start and fighting through those first three quarters the way you would want to, what do you pinpoint most about what started getting away at the end of the third and then was a bit of an avalanche in the fourth?
Yeah, obviously we couldn't get stops, but I feel like our offense wasn't executing. We have a lot of turnovers, and then that puts a lot of pressure on our defense to get stops. So just got to be better taking care of the ball and then getting better shots, for each other.
Some of these things can kind of manifest onto themselves. It's minus, I think, 7 to 8 points in fourth quarters over the last 7 games. What tends to be the breakthrough when you're able as a team to get out of that mode and finish games the way you want to?
Just finding ways to play through, adversity, playing through, when the team ramps up their pressure like that, starts denying me the ball, just finding different ways to get into our offense so that we can get, the shots we want without getting taken out of what we want to do.
It's different players and different teams in the two games here in Brooklyn, but is there a commonality that you could say, hey, if we just do X, it can't happen again? Is there a certain thing specifically you have to do, whether it's defensively, creating turnovers, getting the easy points, getting to the foul line? Like, what stops the 8-point fourth quarters? I don't want to use those.
Definitely taking control, being able to, like you said, get to the line, slow the game down a little bit. Obviously, the turnovers don't help us, so finding ways to take care of the ball and getting shots on goal, that's also important. And then just finding different ways to free our guys up so that we can create some, different actions in space to create overreactions, and I think that leads to better shots for us.
It's one of those things, man. It's a lesson, but, how many times we got to keep learning this lesson? And it's not just the players, it's the coaches as well. We got to understand, we got to all be on the same page.
What was the most challenging thing there at the end of the third and into the fourth? They go to that smaller lineup. What was most disruptive?
They got momentum. I feel like that was the difference in the game. I feel like the whole game they were going to run. Our offense would hold up, and then obviously they got momentum in the fourth and kind of took off from there.
This is the team. It's not as young as it used to be, and there's some strong-willed minded veterans out there at the end of games with Wiggs and Davion and you and Tyler. How do you as veterans sort of step up in that moment, that it's not a bunch of scared kids, it's a bunch of men? How do you take hold of that situation?
We checked out up 10 and then checked out we checked back in, what was it? We were down three or four. I mean, from that standpoint, we got to all understand that they're in a, it's a momentum shift, and we got to understand how we can stop this snowball effect. So for us, it's figuring out how to basically, settle the offense and then get stops on the other end.
You had one of your best halves points in the paint in the first half, and one of your worst halves as a team points in the paint in the second half. Is it something they did to stop you downhill, or is this something that you guys just stopped getting downhill?
I feel like they just made a run, and once you make a run and the momentum shifts, then the crowd gets into it, and it just feels like, they make a shot, then we're down 30 instead of looking up and we're only down 8. And that's the maturity that we got to have when we keep going into this season, figuring out. Don't let it be a 12-2 run. Make it like 8-4. And I feel like we'll be better after that.
Appreciate it.
Not necessarily tonight. I mean, this was a team that, they went super small, played their guards, and applied, a lot of pressure on us. Obviously, that sped us up. They forced turnovers there in that fourth. We weren't able to execute, with enough force. This was different than other games. Right now, I'm going with what I saw, in the first 3 quarters. We made some progress in the last 24 hours, from our session last night and the shoot-around. And then we weren't able to sustain. At that point, it was going to be have to be totally ugly, and we just needed, some more poise against that pressure, whether we were in the post. We basically tried everything out of the menu in the fourth. Post-ups, catch and shoots, pick and rolls. The pick and rolls, they're flattening all of those out. And we just didn't do things with enough force or poise. That'll be something that we can learn from. And then, on the other end, it's not easy to do, but can we function at a high level defensively, which we were playing at a high level defensively for 3 quarters. Then it got really ugly offensively for us. And then we stopped doing the things defensively. I still don't know if that would have guaranteed it, but we fell apart defensively as well. That we had a chance maybe to keep that thing closer to a 6-8 point game. It feels different than when it goes, to 12 or 14. But I see a lot of positives that we can build on. It's not about moral victories, but right now we're trying to build this thing fast. We'll just take our lessons from this and get ready for, tomorrow in Dallas.
Obviously, some alteration to the rotation out of circumstance with Terry and Duncan being out, but Alec Burks, we saw get minutes today. Haywood, at least in the first half. Jaime didn't play. Was he available?
He was available, but his situation is a little bit different than Tyler. He's been dealing with that, for several days. Tyler dealt with it for 36 hours. Could Jaime have been out there? Possibly, but he hasn't done anything really physically for several days. So we'll just see when we get to Dallas. Hopefully he feels a little bit better. He can get a little bit of a workout, something in tomorrow, but we'll see.
Bam's performance and the way he at least kept you afloat for a while and what he did on the boards and on the...
It was inspiring, what he was doing on both ends. He was guarding 1 through 5. He was, since they play so small, he was guarding a lot of their wing players, and then when Kalel was out, he would guard Hartenstein, or Williams. So he was able to toggle back and forth, and when he's on the perimeter, he was still able to rebound. He was the hub of a lot of things we were doing offensively. As we're trying to fast track this, it's always an easy thing when you can throw it to Bam and you can run offense. We just got to continue to get more comfortable guys feeling comfortable and have clarity on what we're trying to do. And 8 points is not great. Obviously, that's not fun, in the fourth quarter. But there are a lot of good things that we're going to build on.
So to that point, was it OKC cranking up their defense?
Yeah, they cranked it up. Like I said, they put in their guards. We couldn't run pick and rolls. Then when we went into the post, they were just jamming us up. With their speed and just speeding us up there. They forced a couple bad shots and a turnover, in the post. and then catch and shoots, they're blowing those up. So we're just kind of going down the menu, but we have to get better at it, and we will. Like I said, it's not fun, going through this, but we're learning our lessons. We're going to continue to get better, and then ultimately, I want to see us make real strides in our resolve and grit. When the game's not going the way we want it to go, can we still function? Can we still do the things that put us in a position to have success?